just a second. Took a piece of property out from under a guy who's negotiating for that piece of property, 250 acres. A gentleman was going to put a contract on that piece of property. The Western Reserve Land Conservancy heard that he had that on there, and they went using your tax dollars and bought that, the rights to that property out from under that guy. $1.some million. Now, they have to find a third-party partner. The way that they work is, they want to put the easement on it, they have a right to the property, but they need a partner in it because the Western Reserve Land Conservancy is not supposed to own the property, they just own the rights to the property. And so there's negotiations going on right now.
Is that mineral rights? What kind of rights?
No. I'll go into that in just a second. But what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to convert that to a park. So the Western Reserve Land Conservancy buggered up a private enterprise duty, or deal. That, if successful, that'll take $17,000 a year off of the county tax rolls, because the minute it becomes a park, it no longer is a taxable piece of property. So it takes it off the tax rolls. It is now a cost burden to we, the residents of Geauga County. It increases, the money we got to pay for those parks and so on and so forth. And at this point in time, we don't even know about it, the residents. There's only a few of us who have inside information as to what's going on. That's not right. And so, while our parks are a good thing, to some degree, there is a point beyond which we have to start using a little common sense and judgment. And Cleveland's concept of Geauga County, in particular in rural areas, their recommendations are there will be no new development here. 1% or less new development. They want to put a large percentage, 20 to 30% of this rural area under conservancy, because that means control, or a park. This is basically Cleveland's park. When NOACA refers to Geauga County, they refer to it as the greater Cleveland area. They don't refer to it as Geauga County. It's part of the greater Cleveland area, as is Lake County, by the way. So it's all part of the greater Cleveland area. And so there needs to be some balance in this, and I'm very concerned about, from a planning perspective, what that means to our liberties and our freedoms. I'm not going to, let me talk about the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. I'm going to buzz ahead to a couple of slides because you had just asked about that. Land Conservancy, here's the deal. A land conservancy is buying an easement on a piece of property. We all know what an easement is. If you've got a gas easement, the gas company has a right to get to their gas meter, get to the gas well if it happens to be in your property, and so on and so forth. Easements give people certain rights on a piece of property. The conservancy easement gives them complete rights to everything on your property. It is having a third-party partner in your property who controls your property. I had 2 contracts with me. I pulled more contracts. But if you go to the recorder's office, any of you can do this, go to your county recorder's office, type in Land Conservancy, it'll bring up a contract, read those contracts. I had 2 of them with me. This is one of the contracts that's in there. I'll show you some specific examples out of the contract. These easements, by the way, are in perpetuity, forever and ever. You cannot undo them. And so in Chesterland, we bought 80 acres for $800,000. Our township trustees did. They didn't tell us they were going to do that. They just did it. Shortly thereafter, they paid $20,000 to put an easement on it. So now we, as the residents of Chesterland, do not have the right to be able to make a decision, even though those 3 trustees are going to be gone in 3 years. In 3 years, they're gone, in perpetuity. That property is under conservancy. We cannot change it. We can't put a ball field on it. We can't put a park on it. I mean, we can't make it something other than what the agreement on the park was. And the agreement is, it is a walkable only park. You cannot have any vehicles running on the park. If any vehicles run across that park, it violates the contract, and the Western Reserve Land Conservancy can take that property. Guess what just happened? Some guys with 4-wheelers didn't know that there was a Western Reserve Land Conservancy contract on that piece of property, and so they've been buzzing all around that vacant piece of property, thinking, hey, this is fun, it's a park. And so we got notice from the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. Big legal issue. And so now we're out there saying, no, 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 please forgive us, forgive us. And so we're going to put signs up all the way around the perimeter, which are going to look really good on the park, and tell everybody that this is a land conservancy protected piece of property, and so therefore you can't run your 4-wheeler on it. The point being is those easements are a third-party control. One of the contracts that I have is for a 284-acre farm. the people that owned the property, older couple, they came and offered them $355,000 a year tax dollars. You were so nice. Offered this old couple who weren't really farming the property anymore anyway, but they offered him $355,000 for 284 acres. That was a pretty good deal, so that they would have the rights to control that property, and the couple sold it to him in a heartbeat, the easement. Now, in perpetuity, nobody will ever be able to change the local soil. Well, first of all, they have to farm according to a plan that was created and given to the Soil Conservation Group. So there's a specific plan that they have to farm on. If they wanted to farm, they're not farming anyway. But if they wanted to farm. And that's what this says, all farming operations have to be conducted in accordance with the applicable local, state laws, federal, and this contract. And so if you violate that, you're violating a contract. In addition to that, it says that there can be no new construction. In other words, this contract was created and agreed to with existing buildings, soil types, farming type, and so on and so forth. There can be no changes to what was agreed to originally in that contract. So you want to put up a new fence line? Can't do it. Want to put it in a pond? Want to put it in a barn? Want to put it in a new driveway? Da 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 da. You may own the property, you may pay taxes on the property, but you can do nothing on it without the permission of the Land Conservancy. The Land Conservancy now controls that property in perpetuity. And people say, well, shouldn't they have the legal right to do that? Well, should they? Do they have the moral right to do that, is what the question that I have. Well, I live on a piece of property, I should have the legal right to do with that property as I would, per the Ohio Constitution. Acquire, possess, and enjoy a piece of property. But if, in the future, if I've stolen that same right from my kids and my grandkids, is that morally right? Should, when I pass that property on to future generations, they should have the right of choice. They should have the right, the same rights that I have today, to be able to acquire, possess, and enjoy a piece of property without government control or another organization control on that piece of property. That's my belief. Now, maybe you disagree with me, maybe not, but that's my belief. I think it's immoral that we steal from the future the same rights that we have today, the constitutional rights to enjoy and acquire and property. But in essence, that's what the Western Reserve Land Conservancy does. I just got this letter today. I don't know what I do with my iPad here. Somebody handed this to me in a meeting. This was a Western Reserve Land Conservancy presentation to a group, and this is what they said. This is on a bigger letter. In the event you are not familiar with the conservancy easement, you are essentially agreeing to whereby the property owner voluntarily restricts in perpetuity the future uses of the property for those that will generally protect and or further the natural resource value and present value, or the values present on the property. The owner voluntarily restricts in perpetuity. So what they're saying is you're voluntarily signing a contract that steals from the future their rights. That's why I say that they're evil. Because what was the Marxist first platform?
Control property.
Controlling property rights. If you go to the recorder's office and you type in conservancy, what you will find is that these conservancy organizations are accumulating property. It is like a little chit in a game for them, because they accumulate those and then they consolidate those and they transfer those off to other organizations. There's a concept called a land bank. I'm not going to go into that further. What asset do we have in this country that's of any value? We don't have gold anymore in Fort Knox.
Where?
We don't?
That's what the Land Conservancy is all about. That's an impact to what is happening with this thing we're not calling Agenda 21. Sustainable development. All right, smart meters. Let's talk about those for just a second. We talked about the fact that a smart meter is a device that is being put on your home that monitors what your power consumption is, right? I had an attorney from First Energy sitting in a presentation I did specifically on smart meters about a month ago. Nice guy, lives in Jogger County. He sat in the back of the room, listened to the entire conversation. Never once spoke up, didn't ask a single question. But I ran into him a week later at the county commission